Donnie Darko was released in 2001. This stars Jake Gyllenhaal and Maggie Gyllenhaal, as well as having DeVay Chase, which is the little girl from The Ring. Drew Barrymore is in here, and Patrick Swayze makes an appearance as well as this slimy motivational speaker, you could say. This is one of the best cult films ever released. This is a film that has been discussed since its releasing. There's two cuts of it. There's a theatrical version and a director's cut version, and I watched both in preparation for this review. First the theatrical, then the director's cut. Biggest differences with the two is the opening track is changed between the two films. In the director's cut, there's a lot more of this. There's a book in the film that's called The Philosophy of Time Travel, and this film, I should mention, deals with time travel and different dimensions. And it is a mindfuck of a film. And this book, The Philosophy of Time Travel, is more discussed because you go through each chapter in the director's cut. And also, there's sequences where the people are moving through time. The people move through time a lot faster, and it's a lot more detailed and discussed and mentioned and talked about in the director's cut than it is in the theatrical cut. Other than that, the director's cut basically just has certain scenes that are extended. Sometimes they're kind of hard to notice because they're just, maybe 20 seconds longer or 30 seconds longer. It's really nothing that I could really point out other than those three big things that are very obvious in the director's cut. So, spoiler free first, because I'm going to be talking about spoilers in this film, but for those who haven't watched it, please go watch it first. Don't be spoiled by anything unless you literally don't give a fuck, excuse me. And I'll just go through the basic gist of it. What happens is we have this kid named Donnie Darko. He's a typical high school kid in 1988, and he's having like hallucinations and dreams. There's an incident with a plane where a jet engine falls from the plane, and then this plane and this jet engine falling off of it basically gets involved in a in a wormhole, which creates a parallel dimension and a situation of time travel because this jet engine ends up falling right onto Donnie Darko's house and into Donnie Darko's room, killing him. And during this split in dimension, this wormhole, fuckery starts to happen with the plot and the world, and it deals with the end of the world, and that's as far as I can go spoiler free. So go watch the film because it's very good and it's very classic, and it's one of it's such a talked about independent film and just to discuss and cult film, and it's just a super well discussed cult film in general. So go watch it. Spoilers though, I still I haven't watched explain videos or anything like that. This film is very confusing in Donnie Darko's journey through it, but it's really cool. You do have to watch this multiple times because there's a lot of things to notice in the background or in the story or connections between characters especially. Basically, the main thing is we have a primary universe and a tangent universe. The tangent is the one that was created. And there's about 28 days, 28 days where Donnie Darko is in this tangent universe trying to figure out how it was created while reading this book called The Philosophy of Time Travel that was written by a character named Roberta Sparrow, who is also called Grandma Death because in the film she's this old lady that basically just walks around back and forth into her mailbox checking mail every 5 seconds kind of thing, as if she's has some severe dementia. But she wrote this time travel book, and there is, of course, the rabbit character, and I love how that played out. How the hallucination of this guy in a rabbit costume ended up being a guy that Donnie kills. And here's the most confusing thing for me at the end of this movie. There's the dimension, that the primary dimension where he's killed by the jet engine, and then there's the tangible one where he was out of the house when the jet engine fell in his room, so he lived. And in this tangible universe, it's unsustainable because in chapter 2 of the book it says that the tangible universes don't they crash upon themselves and they only last for a matter of weeks before forming a black hole and basically collapsing upon itself. The the tangible universe, though, from the way everything played out, sounds like the universe where Donnie died in, and that's what confuses me. It seems like that would have been the tangible universe, and the parallel universe, the primary universe would be the one that he lives. So they made the tangible universe the one that I thought was the primary universe, and vice versa, because the mom and the daughter, played by DeVay Chase, her name is Samantha, are traveling to Los Angeles on the 29th or 30th of October, where this wormhole happened, which brought the jet engine back to October 2nd, which fell on Donnie's house. So, obviously, if that's the tangible universe, then it collapsed upon itself and nobody exists in that universe at that point. And the primary universe is the one where the jet engine falls onto Donnie and ends up killing him. Now that I'm talking about this, it kind of makes more sense that the universe that Donnie dies in would be the primary one. But regardless, the parents are home in both situations, other than the mom and Samantha. But at the end of the movie, they're all crying, and Samantha's sister's crying, played by Maggie Gyllenhaal. Elizabeth is her name. And everybody's devastated for Donnie's death. At the beginning of the one, they all seem happy in a sense. Obviously, because Donnie wasn't in his room. But they're happy that... I understand that they're happy because Donnie didn't die, but they still have, like, no shock in them. Like, the mom's smiling the whole time, like, she's like... she's signing the papers, they're gonna stay at a hotel, everything's... fine and dandy, but like you just had a fucking jet engine crash into your house. Like you're not shook at all. I noticed that in them. Obviously, that has something to do with the film's themes, but yeah, the biggest thing that confused me is which universe is the tangible one, which universe is the primary one, and what happened to the mom and Samantha in the universe closer to the end of the date, where did they go on living? Because I assume the plane wouldn't crash by losing a jet engine. I assume it would make an emergency landing, an assumption. I don't think it would just go straight down to the ground. But yeah, like did they survive that incident, or if that was the universe that collapsed upon itself, then there would be no universe at all. So, anyways, like I said, this film is a mindfuck. But it has so many great moments in it, like the movie theater scene where they're watching Evil Dead, and then when he's leaving the theater, it says double feature Evil Dead and Last Temptation of Christ. That was a good choice to have those completely polar opposite films together, obviously playing off to the themes in the movie. And I love Donnie Darko's attitude, as if he is literally smarter and for his own good, like his debate with the teacher about that love and fear project that she had him do. That woman's a nut job, by the way. Kitty Farmer. what a character. I'll tell you what he said. He told me to forcefully insert the school project into my anus. It's great. And then when he mouths off to Jim Cunningham at the school motivation talk kind of thing, where he's talking about avoid fear and go to love and everything, and Donnie Darko just completely shuts him down in that sense. And there's a third time where he also says something really, really smart. And oh yeah, the Watership Down scene where he starts to... The teacher, played by Drew Barrymore, is explaining how the rabbits in the book, in the story, are human, and then he starts going on this tangent about, no, they're not human, they're rabbits. They don't have the ability to fear death and fear the end of the world. They don't, they're just happy fucking and screwing and being rabbits, and he goes into that tangent. I really liked... also, that Watership Down scene, I think, is a new one in the director's cut, because from my recollection, I don't remember it being in the theatrical cut. But I really liked Drew Barrymore's character and her as a teacher, Karen Pomeroy. She was... I had no idea why she was fired. That scene where she was fired the principal didn't even explain. He just basically says, "I'm sorry that your methods of teaching aren't working out here," but he never says why. It's really like it left me angry because I'm like, why would like what's your reasoning? He didn't even give one. So it was sad that she was fired because she was such a good teacher, even though she was a little bit of a risque teacher. Like when that girl, Sam's love interest, Gretchen, comes into the classroom for the first time, and Drew Barrymore's character Karen is like, "Why don't you just sit by the boy you think is the cutest?" Which would obviously embarrass the fuck out of every boy in that classroom, plus the girl. But yeah, I liked everything that blossomed with them. I liked how she mentions that, if you could go back in time, wouldn't you love to fill in the gaps of every bad moment with good ones? And we find out at the end of the movie that in Donnie's dimension where he dies, he would have never met her, and she comes riding on the bike and had never met him and had never formed that relationship with him. But my favorite part and my favorite aspect of the movie is the reveal on who the rabbit is, and it's just this random kid who was going on a beer run, dressed in a Halloween costume, which was the rabbit. I'm always gonna love that song, "Mad World," which is a cover of a Tears for Fears song. "Mad World" in this movie is by Michael Andrews and another guy. I didn't write his name. I should have written the second guy's name, but Michael Andrews basically covers the Tears for Fears song, "Mad World," and honestly, it's probably the most emo song ever, especially in that cover. I mean, it's a sad fucking song, and I remember it in high school because they also used it in the Gears of War video game trailer, and the whole song is just so depressing. It's a front to back depressing song. It's not even technically an emo song. It's just emo for its themes, and it came out at the peak of emo culture, which I was an emo kid too. So, cheers to that. I love how Karen Pomeroy, played by Drew Barrymore, is very into the English literature thing, and the cellar door quote, how it's the most beautiful combination of words according to some linguist that she mentions. And yeah, the characters are just over the top, especially the not villainous, but the ones you root against, like Kitty Farmer, the snobby ass teacher, who and Jim Cunningham, who of course is revealed to be somebody who has a stash of kitty porn in his fucking house. And it seemed like him and Kitty had like a relationship thing going on, with which it wouldn't surprise me. It was kind of hinted at, though it wasn't actually fully said. But I definitely got that vibe, and how she runs that group with the young girls called Sparkle Motion, and like before they're gonna go on stage, she tells her daughter, "If you feel the need to vomit, just swallow it, okay?" And these girls are like definitely suggestively dancing in provocative ways given their age, because they're all like 10, and yeah, the and her being behind it, and then the way Jim Cunningham kind of announces them on stage, he definitely gives that weirdo vibe going on. Yeah, it's a mind bending film that you'll want to watch more than once. I'm very excited to hop onto the commentary by Kevin Smith and the director Mike Richard Kelly. On the director's cut, they have a commentary on the director's cut, and I'm hoping that's going to give me a lot more insight to this film. The dad was cool too, Donnie's dad. You really got to know him a lot better in the director's cut as well. He has this speech where he says, most people are going to look down on you, but fuck them because you're smarter than all of them, and the reason why they try and get you down is because they're scared of you. And the best thing to say to people like that is just fuck you. And they're in a conspiracy of bullshit. Do you know people in a conspiracy of bullshit? Because I know a lot of them in my personal life. And yeah, there's a scene with a Blockbuster card that gave me pure nostalgia. It's just sitting in the background, and you can miss it if you blink, but the Blockbuster credit was like, hey. And the scene at the beginning when the camera's kind of moving through the hallways in the high school, and they go through like Seth Rogen's character, who it's funny seeing him in here in a really really early role as a bully, and his friend, the guy with the mullet. Jesus Christ, he's literally the most hated character for me in this fucking movie. Hate that guy so fucking much. There's so much to say about this movie, it's crazy. But anyways, the camera going through the hallways with that song. I don't know what the song is called, but it's very 80s and it has that piano going do 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 do. Very 80s aesthetic there. It really feels like 1988. It had the whole same vibe as The Breakfast Club has, in my opinion, where it just feels 80s. It feels right out of the 80s, like a time capsule that you grabbed. That whole sequence feels like that. It just gives that 80s vibe like crazy, where it's going through all the characters. It goes through Mrs. Farmer. It shows Gretchen at her locker, shows Seth Rogen and that mullet kid snorting coke. It feels very 80s, and then it goes to DeVay Chase's character Samantha doing the dance with her Sparkle Motion group, and it's a great scene. The Smurfs are asexual scene. Need I say more? Where they go into this whole like explanation and deep dive into how Smurfs are asexual and can't reproduce and shit. Just stuff that leaves you in stitches, literally. I didn't talk about Charita, the Chinese girl. They mentioned she's Chinese. She looks a little bit more like Hawaiian or Mexican, but she's passable as Chinese too, of course. But she doesn't. She speaks perfect English because during that Love and Fear scene, she's speaking perfect American English, so obviously she knows. But through the whole rest of the film, she's just like, "Shut up!" It's really annoying, because that's all she says to everybody. They could say anything to her, and she'll tell them to shut up. Except she'll say "shut up," as if she doesn't speak English too well and just moved to America. But like I said, she's clearly speaks English because she does during that whole presentation. But regardless, the poor girl gets bullied way too much, and those kids are assholes. What they say to her, I hope you get molested. Like, go fuck yourself, literally. People in high school just boggle my mind, the things that come out of their mouth and what they're capable of saying. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I even have little cousins that are in high school now. At least one of them is. And the shit I hear come out of his mouth, like, kids just, not, well, teens, I should say, don't realize what they're saying and the impact that words can have. Like, it's crazy. I'm not like, oh, words are so, like, at the end of the day, they're words. Like, let it go over your head, and words can't hurt you. Like, I'm a firm believer in that. But when you're a teen, you feel like you're in a much more vulnerable place, and you're still trying to figure things out. And that's why bullying is such more dangerous when you're in high school compared to when you're an adult. Now, I could give a fuck what people say or think about me. Then, I was bullied, and I took it a lot more to heart, and I was much more insecure just because, given the age. So the shit that these kids are saying to Charita, and, like, just horrendous stuff. And, but, her only comeback is "shut up" to everything. And even when somebody gives her a compliment, it's "shut up, shut up." The Donnie says, like, "One day everything is going to be better for you," and she's just like, all terrified, "Shut up." I don't know if she misunderstood him, or I think that's one of those scenes again where it probably means something big, and it's probably a really important scene to the film. But obviously it went over my head. I don't know how long I want to make this video, really, but like I said, I could do a massive deep dive into this film. But like I said, I haven't watched the commentary on it. I'm excited to watch it because it's going to give me a lot more insight on the film. And it's just one of those films that you will get a different experience every time you watched it. Obviously, I like the director's cut better because it's a deeper dive. And, this film is just packed with moments that combine to really make it an impactful film, and I just love it. The cast is great. the bunny costume guy, the bunny costume itself is awesome, and yeah, it's a mind bend. Like I said, it'll leave you with your head hurting pretty much. So I love it. That's really all my thoughts on it right now. I pretty much covered everything I bulleted. So I'll just leave it at that for now. And if you're still here and you haven't seen the film and you don't give a fuck about spoilers, like I warned you at the beginning, go watch the film, because even after what I said, you're still gonna experience something unique. Even if you know what's coming, you're still gonna be surprised by it, in my opinion. So I still am after every rewatch. So basically speaks for itself. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more soon, so stay tuned for that. Check out what's on the channel already. Stay tuned for what's coming. Until next review, have a good one, guys. Take care and cheers.